What's up, y'all? It's your girl Kishshana, and we are back for another quick shot of vitamin K. All right, friends, today I had to pull out my phone because a client sent this article to me about the signs that you are in a toxic workplace. Now, around the halls of Kishshana & Co. and the Kishshanaverse, we deal with change management every single day. That's what most of our clients come to us for. We're dealing in succession planning and strategy planning and change management with people and systems and things. And so I've encountered a toxic environment or two or three or four or 100. I'm just saying. But I thought this article was so dope. And so I'm pulling it up because I want to be able to go through the 8 reasons that there's a toxic environment. And like, these are signs that we don't want you to miss. And then I'm going to talk to you a little bit about each of them. And so let's see if I get through all 8, but I'm at least going to pull up a couple. All right. So we have all been in a toxic workplace, have we not? The place where you sit in the parking lot for a good 5 to 10 minutes and you got to play that song. My song is by Little Kim. You know, somebody else is playing Drake. Somebody else is playing Flo Rida. Am I aging myself? I think I'm dating myself. I need to get newer people. Yeah, we playing the jams, okay, y'all? Before we go inside, we got to get that fight song in us before we step into the building because we know it's about to be some mess. There's between the coworkers who are haters and the manager that we can't stand and the fact that we're in this gray cubicle and now y'all don't call me back to work when I was at home remotely minding my business. We've all been there. So I would say that just about any of us can spot signs of a toxic workplace. But what about the not so obvious signs? And so this is where I love this article. And I found it in Inc. magazine. I'm going to link it below in the comments. So just so you can check it out. But one of the things that was the number one thing on this list was that you find out what people are really thinking in the meeting after the meeting. Y'all, because oftentimes we don't say what we want to say in the meeting. We just sit there just angry and seething and fast texting on our phones about where we're going to meet next to have a conversation about what's really going on. And so you'll know that you're in an organization or a company where the culture is a little bit kind of like a cesspool if people don't feel comfortable or confident talking about the issues that are at hand right there in the meeting with the decision makers. And frankly, y'all, as a CEO and as someone who has sat in a C-suite role for pretty much all of my career, I hated it when team members would sit in a meeting and have us just talking and talking at them for hours and not comment, not have any feedback, etc. And then we hear the rumblings, the undercurrent from the folks who are telling us the stuff that folks are unhappy, that they wanted to do a whole different way. Why didn't you talk to us when you were with us in the meeting? Something is amiss if your team members won't talk to you. Another thing that I thought was interesting about this article is something that I've actually been seeing recently with a couple of clients I'm working on with their change management. When no one is actively disagreeing in the room, because there's always somebody who's the curmudgeon, there's somebody who wants to be like, I just want to play devil's advocate, I just want to play that role. But if you don't have folks who are saying like, I'm not with it in your team and in your organization or your company, then there's a chance that something is a little bit rotten in that organization. If people don't feel confident in speaking up, they don't have any pushback, maybe they don't care or they're not engaged, and it's your role as their day-to-day manager to ensure that they're engaged at work. I got to do a whole video on that, y'all, because I know some of y'all are like, what? My job? Yes, your job as a manager. So another thing that I experienced, so when I saw this in the article, I was like, yup, is only one type of person gets promoted. Hello? So if you're in an organization and like me, you're the only peppercorn in a sea of salt, and you recognize that the people that get promoted, they went to a certain school, they play at a certain club, they go to a certain gym, they're in a certain social group, they're in a certain social class, they're in a type of activity. Maybe they do something that you have not been exposed to, and those are the folks that get promoted over and over again. That's going to create discontent And it's also going to create ill will and ill feelings among team members when they realize, what is all this effort for anyway? I'm not going to get promoted regardless. And that is a sign that your environment, y'all, might be a little bit sniffy. All right, let me just go another one, because this one is critical. And I just did a talk on this at a conference the other day. Underperformers go unaddressed. Oh, it kills me. It gets on my last nerve when I talk with leaders and I do an assessment of their teams and I kind of dig in and I realize you have not one, not two, but three people on your team that are underperforming. Why haven't we created a plan for them to either step up or step out? And if you need some help on that, y'all, I did a video on managing performance that you got to kind of go scroll back and you got to check that out after this one, because it's really, really helpful to get you started on the road to managing performance. But if you are allowing underperformers to just collect their paycheck on the 15th and 30th because you don't want to be bothered, because it's uncomfortable, you don't want to make anybody unhappy, you don't want to disrupt things, I'm too busy to hire. Excuses are tools, y'all, okay? So I need you all to step up and step in, because if that's happening in an organization, not only are you going to allow bad behaviors to persist, and culture is consistent of a set of behaviors, you're also going to drive out your high performers. I'm going to go one more, y'all. There is all talk about measures and not meanings. So I come from the social sector, nonprofit organizations, where we are focused on our mission. And one of the things that I've shared with my team, and I've shared with teams that I've coached and I've navigated and facilitated over the years, is yes, you can be excited about the mission, but I really need you to be excited about your job. Do you actually like what you do? Because when the going gets tough and the work gets mundane, are you excited to be in the kind of work you're in? So now let's take this forward into the organization. If you're an organization when all your manager and all upper management cares about are, did we hit our KPIs? What are our goals? What are our outcomes? And there's no conversation about the meaning of why we get there. All we're talking about are consequences if we don't hit them, and the reward for the few if we do, or no reward if we do, which is worse and more common. Then friends, we are missing the boat on what's important in an organization. And it's an indication that you do not believe that people are your most important asset. And that shows. And it also shows that fear is the thread. It's the stream leading out into the river of your organization's lifeblood. So you are injecting fear into that organization, and folks don't feel expressed to try new things, to do things that have meaning, to create things that stick, that may not have clear-cut outcomes and KPIs. And so if any of those 5 things are happening in your organization, or if you get a whiff of that for an organization you're trying to join, then my friend, you might be in the hidden mist of a toxic organization. Lucky for you, you found us, and that is one of our specialties. And so if you are in an organization and you're like, oh my gosh, we've got to turn this around, we've got to change the way this works, and you are looking for a team that can help you both understand the cesspool that you are swimming in and figure out how to clean that thing up, then I want you to reach out to my team so that we can help you get started on a way to clearer waters. And I know that if you are able to work alongside us, that you will experience a shift and the air will clear and you'll go from a toxic workplace to a healthy one.